What is poppin', guys? It's your main man Josh here, and I'm super excited about this one. Fresh from the planet Zarnia, where he wiped out his species for a science project, it's Lobo on his Spacehog. Now, if you're a DC fan of a certain age, you'll remember this guy from the Superman animated series. He was my favorite character when I was a kid. So I was super excited that we were finally going to get a live action Lobo, and I absolutely had to get this bucket to share with you guys here on the channel. So without further ado, let's get to the lab. Let's start out with some basics. This thing is actually pretty small. It's about a foot long, and most of the weight is in the detachable Lobo figure that makes up the box of the lid. That's what this is. This is a popcorn box because it fully and securely closes with a little bit of pressure. It does light up with some very wimpy lights that are supposed to be the flames from the exhaust of the Spacehog. But let's be real, I've seen much better implementation of LEDs on a popcorn bucket. I actually had to ask Discord how to activate the lights, and they told me you had to pull the entire flame piece out of the back of the bucket, and that exposed the battery tab that you could pull, and after this, the switch could be activated. The really awesome thing about this bucket is that I don't think it's exclusive to any one theater. I've seen this at Cinemark, AMC, and my local Imagine, as well as a few other places, so you shouldn't have a problem getting your hands on this, guys. Price-wise, it seems to be averaging somewhere between $40 and $50. I know AMC had them for $50 and my Imagine had them for $40, so everywhere seems to be somewhere in that range, not counting shipping if you have to buy it online. Now let's get to the quality. The detail on this thing is pretty sweet. As I said, Lobo is one of my favorite DC Universe characters, and this is everything I had hoped for in terms of depiction of a character. Perhaps a surprise to no one, this is very clearly Jason Momoa's Lobo, but that's a match between character and actor that's so perfect it doesn't matter. There's also a variety of textures at play here. The plastic where the light shines through is clear and hard, while Lobo's jacket is a little more rubbery and flexible. But the whole thing is a must-have for DC collectors and comics fans in general, due to the great attention to detail. Another thing that I appreciate about this bucket is that the warnings and Snapco branding are hidden cleverly inside Lobo's cape. I wish more companies would pay this close attention to where they put the branding so that the branding doesn't affect the visual appeal of the bucket. The only downside when it comes to quality is pretty small, and that is that this thing is not very well balanced and can be very easily tipped cockeyed, even sitting on a flat surface. So just be mindful of that when displaying it, or maybe you like the tilted look because it gives the whole thing a little bit more attitude. It's up to you. Now the hilarious thing is that they have the audacity to call this thing a bucket. It could probably hold like one large handful of popcorn and maybe 2 cups. This thing is one of the least practical popcorn buckets I've ever seen. The good news is, because the cavity is so small, if you do use it for popcorn, it'll be easier to clean. I am concerned that in humid air, the rubber of Lobo's trench coat will break down in a few years, but that literally is a problem for another time. I think it's important for this review to acknowledge that even though they're calling this a bucket, it's better thought of as a statue, especially when you factor in that it's a little harder to open and close than other shaped popcorn boxes. As you know, X Factor is purely subjective. So for me and my fandom of the character, this thing's got phenomenal X Factor. It also exhibits something I'm calling the law of inverse practicality, where the less practical a bucket is, the cooler it tends to be. So yeah, the purchase decision here comes down to whether or not you like Lobo, and for someone who grew up on the Superman animated series and even Young Justice, I love the character, so I also love the bucket. You know, honestly, I'm surprised I'm not going to give this thing a Grail rating. Yes, it is very cool, and it is one of my favorite characters. But the two big marks against it are its small size and the weak lights. I mean, come on, these don't even really look like lights. They just kind of make the plastic glow a little bit. But this thing is still an incredible bucket, and it will be staying in my personal collection. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know what you thought of Supergirl 2. Is it as disappointing as people are saying? I don't know if I'm going to go see it if it's as bad as people say it is. Which is a shame because I do like the character. Well, anyways, if you liked the video, be sure to like it here on YouTube. And if you really liked it, subscribe and join the Bucket Brigade today. This is Josh saying have a great weekend.